Northeast India is a rich mosaic of hundreds of small tribes with their own religious practices, cultures and languages. While some of these tribes worship nature, their religious beliefs, customs and traditions are similar to Hindu customs and concepts of gods and goddesses. And then there are those tribes that believe in the supremacy of nature and are exclusively nature worshippers. Wars within these tribes for domination were common, and over the years, members of these tribes converted to Christianity in large numbers. Mizoram is one such state with an almost 90% Christian population. The Brus, also known as Riangs, are a tribal community indigenous to Northeast India. The Brus have lived in parts of Mizoram, Tripura and Assam. A large number of the Brus living in Tripura today had to leave their homes in Mizoram following persecution and discrimination by the majority Mizos.
We have been totally neglected in terms of educational condition, economical condition, political condition, and social condition.
Being ethnically distinct from the Mizos, the Brus were seen as outsiders and were denied government jobs. Bru children were forced to change their tribal names to Mizo or Christian names at the time of school admissions.
जब मैं स्कूल जाते थे तब भी हम लोग संडे के टाइम में हम चर्च पे नहीं जाते थे, तो हमें बहुत नेक्स्ट दिन मंडे के टाइम में बहुत पनिशमेंट मिला जाता था। पूरा 2-3 घंटे हमें बाहर में खड़ा करा दिया जाता था।
The Brus were forced to speak the Mizo language, and Bru farmers lost land around their villages to land grabbers, which disrupted the farmers' June cultivation. Often, Bru names would mysteriously disappear from voter lists, or Bru voter lists would be burnt seemingly by accident. This prevented the Brus from accessing government welfare schemes. In 1995, the Young Mizo Association and the Mizo Students Association demanded that Brus be struck off Mizoram's electoral rolls as they were not indigenous inhabitants of the state. The Brus objected to this and demanded the creation of a separate Bru Autonomous District Council or independent Zilla Parishad.
We, the people of Brus, once and intensified the demands of the Autonomous District Council, and again from the government side and the people of Mizoram, they also intensified the opposing this Autonomous District Council.
In September 1997, in the Saipuili village in Mizoram, a meeting of the Bru community was underway to discuss the demand for autonomy. There was nothing unconstitutional about this demand, as similar demands by other castes and tribes had been accepted in the past. A mob of Mizo youth, along with the Mizoram armed police, disrupted the meeting and attacked the people present there, alleging that they were trying to divide Mizoram. That day marked the beginning of a terrible period of looting, arson, murders and rapes. Brew houses were burnt, their crops destroyed, and their cattle killed or taken away. Brew men, women and children all came under attack. Even as the administration turned a blind eye, all hopes of getting help from the police faded away. The mayhem continued for almost a week. Fearing for their lives, the Brews were left with no other option but to flee Mizoram as soon as possible with whatever little they had. 56,000 men, women and children from around 60 villages were forced to leave Mizoram and seek refuge in neighbouring Assam and Tripura. Instead of the Christian message of loving one's neighbour as oneself, such atrocities raise many questions in a place where Christianity prevails. If the Congress government of the time, which now talks about intolerance, had paid a little attention, the people of the Riang tribe might not have suffered for 23 years. This turned into a humanitarian crisis as thousands of these displaced Brews needed to be urgently provided food, water, shelter and other basic amenities.
स्वर बकरम की तरह हम लोग रहा एकदम ना ये ऐसी ज़मीन में रहा हम लोग ज़मीन में ही सोए और कोई तो बुजुर्ग लोग हैं उनका देहांत भी हो गई और मेरा पिताजी के रिलेशन है वो भी बुजुर्ग है वही में एडजस्ट नहीं हो पाए एनवायरनमेंट से तो फिर वही में डेथ हो गई। ऐसे करते करते हम लोग कल्याण आश्रम से संपर्क हुई थी। कल्याण आश्रम वाले लोग आए तो इसमें वो चूड़ा वगैरह मूरी वगैरह हमको खाने के लिए दिया और सब चंदा मांग कल्याण आश्रम वाले ने शरण दिया।
In this time of grave crisis, the Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram, a non-profit organization working for the welfare and upliftment of India's tribal communities, came forward to help. The organization's members, notably Sri Krishna Bhide and Sri Sanjay Kulkarni, volunteers and local activists, through their untiring efforts, were able to raise 6 crore rupees, apart from arranging food grains and other essential items for the Brew refugees.
हम लोग 1997 को सबसे पहले असम में डिस्प्लेस होकर वहाँ पे टेम्पररी रहे तो तब से लेके अपने वनवासी कल्याण आश्रम ने ऐसा मूवमेंट चलाया पूरे भारत में कि हरियाणा से, राजस्थान से, मध्य प्रदेश से, महाराष्ट्र से, उत्तर प्रदेश से, बिहार से, बहुत पूरे भारत से कपड़े हो या चावल हो, जो भी चावल, चप्पल, मच्छरदान, जो भी चीज़ें हैं पूरे भारत से इकट्ठा किया गया और यहाँ पे उन्होंने आके डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया।
The Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram approached the highest courts in the country and managed to ensure that the displaced Brews got refugee identity cards that entitled them to receive ration and some financial assistance from the government. For the last 26 years since then, the Brews have been waiting for justice, living on the meager government assistance they receive. The Kanchanpur subdivision of North Tripura district has 6 makeshift Brew refugee camps. Given the temporary nature of this arrangement, the Brews living here have no permanent houses, running water, electricity, proper roads, schools or health facilities. Life in these refugee camps is very tough. Even the elderly and children have to go down into the valley to fetch water on their heads. Life in these camps may be difficult, but the Brew refugees feel safe here, being united with their families and other members of their community.
मरना भी यहाँ में मरेगा, बाँचना भी यहाँ में बाँचेगा। हम मिजोरम तो जाने के लिए हम कोई राजी नहीं। धर्म पर जुदा, धर्म भी अलग। हम लोग होने से हरि कृष्ण, इन लोग होने से यीशु ख्रिस्ट। अलग कहीं तक हम लोग के लिए शामिल होना कोई जरूरत नहीं।
सबसे पहले ये कल्याण आश्रम वाले लोग ने आया, वो क्या बोलते स्कूल का नाम तो याद नहीं, हिंदी सिखाने के लिए ऐसे आते हैं और समाज सेवा ये कल्याण आश्रम वाले लोग सब ने मतलब कि छोटा मोटा बच्चों को ABC सिखाना, ऐसे स्कूल अलग अलग खोली।
The Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram has made arrangements to provide basic education to the children living in the refugee camps. Some of these children have also been sent to schools and hostels run by Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram in various parts of the country.
तो कल्याण आश्रम के वजह से हम लोग फिर महाराष्ट्र चले गया, तो शिक्षा करने के लिए हम लोग ये नहीं हिंदी इंग्लिश वहाँ पे है सब सिंधी स्कूल में। पहले 10वीं तो सिंधी स्कूल में गोंडिया में किया, फिर वह 10वीं पास करने के बाद फिर मेरे को नागपुर में ट्रांसफ़र कर दिया, फिर वहाँ से धर्मपत कॉलेज गए फिर हम लोग।
मैं उधर से सहारनपुर से क्लास 1 से पढ़ाई करके क्लास 12 तक पढ़ाई किया। फिर क्लास 12 से रुद्रपुर में चले गया, तो रुद्रपुर में भी उसमें अपना बनवासी कल्याण आश्रम छात्रावास का कार्यालय है, तो कार्यालय में रह करके BA फर्स्ट ईयर, सेकेंड ईयर, थर्ड ईयर, 4 ईयर्स करके उसमें 4 साल का BA कंप्लीट करके आ गया हूँ।
This has been done with a view to bring these children into the mainstream of urban society and offer them a chance to make a better future for themselves and for their community. It is a proud moment for Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram to see one of the Bru refugee students of their hostel become a doctor and get ready to serve society at large.
बनवासी कल्याण आश्रम जो है, अखिल भारतीय बनवासी कल्याण आश्रम, मैं शुक्रिया अदा करूँ भी मेरा सब कम पड़ जाता है। उन्होंने ब्रू कम्युनिटी को बहुत ज़्यादा साथ दिया है। जब 1997 तब से लेकर आज तक उन्होंने साथ दिया। बहुत बच्चे को जाके बाहर में पढ़वाया, कोई डॉक्टर भी बना, कोई इंजीनियर भी बना, कोई लॉयर भी बना। वो सब अखिल भारतीय बनवासी कल्याण आश्रम के प्रयास के कारण से ये सब हुआ।
In 2005, the Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram filed a petition in the Supreme Court to initiate the repatriation of the displaced Brus to Mizoram. The Apex Court set up a monitoring group including representatives of the Union Home Ministry and the state governments of Tripura and Mizoram to work out the modalities of a smooth return for the Bru refugees. However, the Brus felt that the terms of repatriation lacked clarity and did not adequately address the questions of safety, security and rehabilitation of the Bru refugee families once they returned to Mizoram. Over the years, in multiple rounds of repatriation, only around 3,000 refugees could be sent back. They continue to face an uncertain future in Mizoram as their demand for agricultural land for every family was turned down by the Mizoram government. They were denied permission to live in cluster villages for a greater sense of security, and the Mizoram government has also not agreed to allow an autonomous district council for the Brus. In 2018, when Shri Rajnath Singh was the Home Minister, the 9th repatriation agreement was signed between the centre, the state governments of Mizoram and Tripura, and the Mizoram Bru Displaced Peoples Forum. Under the agreement, 4 lakh rupees were to be deposited into the bank account of the head of each repatriated family, which would mature after 3 years. Each repatriated family was to receive a housing assistance of 1.5 lakh rupees, 5,000 rupees every month as direct benefit transfer and free ration for 2 years. This was a generous offer and no previous government had addressed the issue with such openness and transparency. Yet most of the refugee families chose not to return. fear for their safety, and the uncertainty regarding their future in terms of earning a livelihood in Mizoram and being reintegrated into Mizo society are the two main concerns that have kept them from going back. In January 2020, in the presence of Union Home Minister Shri Amit Shah, a historic agreement was signed between the centre, the states of Tripura and Mizoram, and representatives of the Bru community, in which it was decided that the displaced Brus living in refugee camps in Tripura would be resettled in Tripura itself instead of being repatriated to Mizoram. This is a very welcome decision for the Bru refugees, as they will now be vacating their makeshift homes in the Kanchanpur camps and moving into their rightful homes allotted to them under this agreement.
दिल्ली में एक महत्वपूर्ण समझौते पर हस्ताक्षर किए गए। इसके साथ ही लगभग 25 वर्ष पुरानी ब्रू रियांग रेफ्यूजी क्राइसिस एक दर्दनाक चैप्टर का अंत हुआ।
A financial aid of 1.5 lakh rupees is being provided to every Bru family to build their home. A sum of 4 lakh rupees is being deposited in a family member's newly opened bank account. The family can withdraw this amount after living in Tripura for 2 years. As these refugee families prepare to start a new life without the stigma and the pain of living as refugees in their own country, they are being supported by the government at every step of the way. As part of the rehabilitation program, every family will receive free rations and a sum of 5,000 rupees every month for 2 years, which is sufficient time for them to settle down and start earning their livelihood. The Vanvasi Kalyana Ashram is working actively in the villages where the homes are being built, providing help and support to ensure that the villages get proper schools, roads and other civic amenities at the earliest. This agreement is being seen as the dawn of a new day and a new beginning for the displaced Brus, and is expected to bring the Northeast into the national mainstream by ensuring rapid development and lasting peace and prosperity in the region, which has been marked by years of ethnic strife and conflict.
सेकंड इंस्टॉलमेंट मिला ही नहीं। ये सबमिट कब किया था, मतलब आधा कंप्लीट का फोटो, लेकिन सेकंड इंस्टॉलमेंट नहीं मिला। इसके कारण घर भी अधूरा पड़ा है। ऐसे नाम और फोटो दोनों देने पड़ेंगे और बैंक डिटेल्स भी।
Today, as the displaced Bru community prepares to make Tripura its new home, the Vanvasi Kalyana Ashram extends its heartfelt congratulations to the community, and it also conveys its gratitude and appreciation for the hard work and dedication of all its members, volunteers and social workers. Their untiring efforts have been in the right direction and have borne fruit in the form of justice delivered after all these years.